And to tell us more about this, Professor Choo Jae-woo from Kyung Hee University joins us in the studio today. Hello, Professor.
Hello.
All right, so South Koreans performed over in North Korea at the weekend for the first time in 13 years. So what does this performance actually mean for inter-Korean relations?
Yes, I don't know if we can really render, the civilian diplomacy, the meaning of state diplomacy, but it is the first defining moment in 13 years. So I think in that respect, definitely it is meaningful. But the impact it's going to have on inter-Korean relationship, I'm a little skeptical here because civilian diplomacy cannot be really render so much political meanings or political implications to the state relationship. So if this civilian diplomacy is going to have some kind of political implications or meanings, then it should be a continuing process. There has to be continuity of the civilian diplomacy, which means there should be a reciprocal process of all these cultural exchanges and activities going on between the two countries. Then we can say, okay, there's some meaningful moments here.
And going along with that, Kim Jong-un reportedly said that the two Koreas should hold more cultural and arts performances together, and even saying that the two Koreas should hold a similar event come May in Seoul.
Yes. Looks like it that way. It was a surprising announcement, and obviously he said he would like to have his delegations to go to Seoul and perform in the autumn. I think that's a one good signature here. But at the same time, autumn is still far away, and there's going to be a lot of political events happening between two Koreas as well as including the United States.
So could we actually just think, though, that there could be some political implications to this?
Yes, hopefully. Yeah.
All right. Well, we know that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un actually attended Sunday's performance to many surprise with his wife, Ri Seol-ju, and his sister, Kim Yo-jong. So what can we make of his appearance there?
I think his message was definitely showing respect to his South Korean counterpart, which will be President Moon Jae-in, because it was at his offering that the concert was held, and gladly to President Moon Jae-in, Kim Jong-un accepted the offer. And I guess in return, he had to show his political respect to President Moon.
Now, the head of the Blue House Department for Monitoring State Affairs, Yun Kun-young, who was actually one of the members of the special delegation to North Korea back in March, was also in North Korea for this event. So what can we make of his presence there?
I don't know if we can make something out of his presence, because there's something strange about this head of the delegation from the Blue House. Because, for this concert alone, the Blue House sent 3 different delegations, three different representatives, and they're all 3 different personnel. Yeah, so there's not certainly a continuity there, but at the same time, as we saw in the footage, there was a Minister of Culture and Sports who was attending and sitting right next to Kim Jong-un. That's right. So I don't know if a representative from the Blue House is meaningful while there's a minister from the South Korean government attending the event simultaneously.
Now we have that another event coming up on Tuesday. Do you think perhaps Kim Jong-un could be attending that as well?
It looks like he's a big fan of K-pops, so and he's pretty young. So maybe he might show up again, and to show much more respect to not only the artists, but also to the government of South Korea.
All right. Well, Kim Jong-un, meanwhile, also met with Olympics chief Thomas Bach in Pyongyang last week and said that North Korea is committed to participating in 2020 and 2022 Olympic Games.
Yes, that's right. I think Mr. Bach is on a tour right now and visiting all these countries, to get a confirmation of their participation in the upcoming Olympic events. And it's good that he didn't exclude North Korea. And he stepped on an early board. He made an early board, and he personally got engaged with Kim Jong-un. So I think that's a good beginning. That's a good beginning, because for the IOC also, when they want North Korea to participate in all these Olympic events, they have to find ways to avoid, any kind of violations of, the United Nations sanctions on North Korea. So that, I think for that political reasons, that he made an early visit to North Korea and had a good meeting with Kim Jong-un.
What do you think North Korea's intentions could be in wanting to participate in the Olympic Games from here on out?
Oh, well, just to make their presence known to the world and to improve their national image, that's for sure. By engaging with other athletes and other countries and IOC members, that they're accommodating the spirit of the Olympics. I think that could be a great projection of improving their national image.
And of course, the big question now is whether this will all lead to the ultimate denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And we have that working level talks between the two Koreas coming up on this Wednesday. So what can we expect from that meeting?
Yes, I think we can go back to the mid-90s and when there's a Geneva Agreement in 1994 and in September of 2005 agreements among the 6 pioneer nations. If we recall a little bit of the foreign or external environment of North Korea, that's when they felt most comfortable with not only the neighboring states, but also with the other international organizations. And their foreign predicament made them compelled to feel that, oh, we are engaged and we are welcome by the world. And when that kind of situation is created, then North Korea feels much more comfortable in accommodating demands and negotiating with outsiders. So I think all these developments could play a positive role to the path of denuclearization.
Now, we're also wondering, though, whether this issue of denuclearization will be put on the agenda in all of these meetings.
Hope so. Not the first working level meeting, but the second meeting of the working level has to deal with this specific issue, because that's when they're going to talk about and discuss the joint communique or joint statement between the two countries. And in that joint statement, there has to be some kind of announcement or statement regarding the denuclearization process between the two Koreas, or anything that is susceptible to the groundbreaking statement regarding the denuclearization of North Korea. Yes.
All right. Well, we also have that high-level inter-Korean meeting coming up on April 18th. Are there anything that we can expect from this meeting?
Maybe some of the political issues that. According to some media reports, our government is looking forward to institutionalizing the Inter-Korean Summit, as well as for expanding their political and other non-political contexts too. So that could be one of the agendas at the meeting. While the very first meeting on April 4th will be talking about the protocols and how they're going to accommodate the each other's media and other delegations. So that's about protocols, but the second meeting will really focus on the agenda that the two leaders are going to really touch upon.
So now we see the difference between how we view denuclearization from other countries, because North Korea is kind of saying step-by-step denuclearization, which we have seen it done before, and it kind of failed. And then the U.S. is saying you need to denuclearize it at once, you know? So it's kind of different from North Korea's perspective. So what does the Moon administration thinking in regards to denuclearization process?
I think the Moon government is leaning towards North Korea and China's scheme of denuclearization, which will be step-by-step, incremental denuclearization process. But here, American scheme is not that much different. Total denuclearization, but the inherited nature of American model, the so-called Libyan model, is the total embodiment of the incremental process. Because while you're offering returns in return to the actions that North Korea has taken for denuclearization, then the step has to be incremental and gradual, because the United States, while it's offering goodies to North Korea, at the same time they want a confirmation They want to verify it, yes, and they want to see it really dismantled. So, you know, all these process, the inherited process is pretty much the same of the two parties that they're talking about.
Now, there have been talks over how the April 27th Inter-Korea Summit could perhaps lead to an Inter-Korea Summit on a regular basis. You mentioned it a little bit before.
Yes, that's right.
But what are the chances of actually seeing that happen?
In this day and age of, you know, globalization and information technology, and considering the geographical factors here, how close we are, I don't know if institutionalization of Inter-Korean Summit is really meaningful, because I think it's out of date concept. I think it doesn't need to be politicized in such fashion, because, you know, in this day and age, we can travel freely and within a short span of time.
Right.
The technology, transportation technology has improved so much compared to the 70s, 80s, when it was much more difficult to travel. So that's why it was meaningful back then to hold annual summit among the country leaders. But nowadays, you look at Abe,
Right.
Abe of Japan. He goes to the States at his own discretion.
Right.
Yeah, and Trump is American president while he's pretty much occupied by domestic issues, but he can travel pretty much freely at his own will.
But then it's a different case for North Korea, obviously.
Yes, that's right. So here, we don't want to specialize North Korea. Well, we don't want to give too much special meanings to North Korea or even to China, because in our bilateral relationship with China, we also want to institutionalize our China-South Korea summit. But here, we see these leaders, Chinese leaders, in so many occasions, so many different occasions throughout the year, within the context of multilateral meetings, within the context of bilateral meetings, or we can apply the same formula to North Korean leader if he's willing to come forward to all these international gatherings and meetings.
Right.
Then it'll be meaningless.
Well, what about that hotline, though, that the two Koreas were supposed to kind of
that's right.
resume?
Yes, that's right. I think that's very, very important for the stability and peace of North Korea, of the Korean Peninsula, because without having sufficient means of communication between the two capitals, and while we have limited access to information in the two capitals, there's always a great chance for misunderstanding and miscommunication.
Right.
So in order to prevent that, to begin with, I think hotline communication lines.
Help.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Thank you so much for your insight today.
Thank you.